Welcome to my demo on how to create a presentation that is very sticky. What that means is that the information in here is going to have some staying power. And here's a simple process for this. We have left brain data content that needs to have right brain meaning or some kind of stickiness that we remember. That left brain data, information, statistics, facts, figures does not stick in our head unless there's some context, some kind of right brain stickiness. And that could be imagery, that can be story, that can be being unexpected, that could be emotion. So what I'm going to do is demonstrate how we could take the format of our presentation and make it more sticky. Now, we don't have to do this, but I'm going to demo live right now the editing of our presentation as it currently is put together to show you the process. If you like this, then when we're done with the content and we have it formatted in its current state, I will take it and reformat it so that it looks like the Dick Hart presentation that I embedded into the forum. So here's simply what I do. As I go in, and you want an image or text on the screen at one time. Seldom do you want to put the two together. And here's how this works. The demo is well, first off, all this visual stuff on the page is distracting. First thing, we'll get rid of the citation and put that at the end. We'll have an image citations page, and we'll put that at the end. Then technically we are citing all our stuff. It'll be chronologically in order for how they show up in the presentation, or it could be alphabetical by creator. That's something we could decide, MLA, APA, depending on how we want to do that. But what I want to do is get rid of this branding on the page. We can have the branding at the beginning like this, so people know it's an IB presentation, but then when we jump into it, for instance, maybe putting this down here, we want to get rid of this stuff because as our eye looks at it, and here's the idea behind this from a visual standpoint, is visually, I have a harder time reading this text because it's embedded in the wall. I am also being attracted to this. There's a lot of visual stuff here. It's too much information. It's not giving me a clear point of focus. So what I would recommend is, first off, I'm going to go into the master slide and I'm going to delete all of the elements that are showing up in all the slides. And what that means is these graphics down here, I don't need the footer. I'll leave all the other stuff here, but I'm going to go now back to the regular, normal. And you can see I just got rid of that. Another thing is our eye is drawn to highlights before we're drawn to darker colors. For instance, highlights appear closer than darks. And so you want the font to be white and the background to be black. Because two things, when you're projecting on a wall, if you have a black background, the slideshow looks like it's just hanging on the wall. It's just sitting there with no borders. And borders are visual elements that can draw our attention, and we don't want that. So what I recommend is I'm going to go back into master slide, and I'm going to turn the background black. And whoops, let's go over here, format background, keep not clicking on it. And I'm simply going to go in here and I'm going to go black and apply, and now I'll go back to our slideshow, and you can see this here. Now, here's the way right brain and left brain text or context works. This, and we could have notes, but this is what would show up on the screen. Our audience is watching this, but what we say are the words that were previously there. Here's how it's supposed to work cognitively. We either say the data and have an image that reinforces what the data is supposed to mean, or invert that, have the data on the screen and then tell a story or give an anecdote or something that helps make meaning with the data that's on the screen. So that's how this philosophy really works out. Left brain on the screen and then say the right brain, or vice versa. Does that make sense? So that's what we're after. And then what we do is I would take and break these out one statement per slide. So it would be agenda on the slide, and that's it. The next slide would be introduction. The next slide would be pre-assessment. And if you're thinking to yourself, holy cow, that's a lot of slides. Yes, the slideshow could be 100 slides. But what happens is we're moving so fast through it. Click, we see agenda, then we say introduction, then we say pre-assessment, and we click through this very quickly. That's me snapping my fingers. And they can't not look at the slideshow and pay attention to what we're saying. To make this work, you have to, we would have to practice with the content and have some notes off to the side, which is very easy to generate from either PowerPoint or some other slide program or Google Slides. So we'd have our notes with us, and then when we get together, one, you could be practicing with your section of the slideshow before we get to Germany, and then when we get there, we can go through it again. And you don't have to be saying it verbatim as quickly as Dick Hart does in his presentation, but it flows really well. And yes, some of the stuff it might look like you're reading your slides, but here, for instance, I'm not reading the slide. I'm saying, what was on there before. I would just say, these are put in place. So whoever would introduce this would say, tearing down the walls to learning. So we're looking at this and we hear that statement. And our brain, this will be my last comment, our brain has to do the mental gymnastics to take the left brain data and the right brain context and make meaning with it. And our minds are hungry for that. That's what we really want to do. And when we do that, people don't get bored with the presentation. So that's my pitch. And let me know what you think.